Okay, so in this video, we're going to be talking about Wild Peaches by Elinor Wylie. I said that weird. And too bad you can't, start videos over, re-edit them. So I'm actually going to read this whole poem, and I'm going to stop at different points and talk about some different things that hopefully will help you understand it. Okay, Elinor Wylie, Wild Peaches, 1. When the world turns completely upside down, you say we'll emigrate to the eastern shore, aboard a riverboat from Baltimore. We'll live among wild peach trees miles from town. You'll wear a coonskin cap and I a gown, homespun, dyed butternut's dark gold color, lost like your lotus-eating ancestor. We'll swim in milk and honey till we drown. The winter will be short, the summer long, the autumn amber-hued, sunny and hot, tasting of cider and scuppernong. All seasons sweet, but autumn best of all. The squirrels in their silver fur will fall like falling leaves, like fruit before you're shot. Okay, so right away, we're put into this new situation where the world turns completely upside down. Something has happened, the world has fallen apart, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to live in a paradise, right? And it describes all of these folksy sorts of ideas. You'll wear a coonskin cap. That's a raccoon. I don't know if you've ever watched Davy Crockett or heard of Davy Crockett, but that's the hat with the raccoon tail coming off of it, classic imagery. And I will wear a gown that's homespun, and I will have made it myself, dyed butternut's dark gold color, lost like your lotus-eating ancestor. And we'll swim in milk and honey till we drown. So there's a lot of allusions happening here as well, where she is bringing up the lotus-eating ancestor, which, if you remember from freshman year, the lotus eaters are those people on Odysseus's journey that decided to stay on that island eating those lotus plants and ignore reality. Already bringing up this idea of maybe this isn't great. Maybe this isn't the best idea. Maybe we are ignoring things by doing this, but it's going to be beautiful. The next line, we'll swim in milk and honey till we drown, is again this kind of mixture of positive and negative feelings. So right away, we're already seeing kind of the tension here between this is going to be great and maybe there's a downside. Milk and honey, a classic reference to a land where there is plenty, right? It's flowing with milk and honey, all these wonderful, beautiful things. And not usually something you'd want to drown in. I guess you don't really want to drown in anything. Maybe drowning in milk and honey would be better. It's hard to swim in. Scuppernong down there is a type of grape native to the southeastern United States. I've never heard of it, but scuppernong, I want to use that word all the time. And then at the bottom, again, building on land of milk and honey, land of plenty, he will be able to shoot the squirrels so easy they'll fall like leaves, because he's going to shoot them so well. Okay, section 2. The autumn frosts will lie upon the grass like bloom on grapes of purple, brown, and gold. The misted early mornings will be cold. The little puddles will be roofed with glass. The sun, which burns from copper into brass, melts these at noon and makes the boys unfold their knitted mufflers, full as they can hold. Fat pockets dribble chestnuts as they pass. Peaches grow wild and pigs can live in clover. A barrel of salted herrings lasts a year. The spring begins before the winter's over. By February, you may find the skins of garter snakes and water moccasins, dwindled and harsh, dead white and cloudy clear. Okay, so again, we've got these mixed images of both positive and negative. So on the one hand, you've got how, the autumn frosts will be beautiful, the sun will burn bright, and all of those, the iciness from the autumn will melt with the sun, and boys will have so much plenty that they will fill their fat pockets with chestnuts. Peaches will grow wild. You don't have to even take care of them. The spring begins before the winter is over. Before we have to even deal with the end of winter, spring is there. But we get this image of garter snakes and water moccasins, their skins dwindled and harsh, dead white and cloudy clear. Finding snake skins, especially a water moccasin, which is one of the deadliest snakes, it says down there. Why mix these images? What's happening? Moving on, that's where stanza 3 breaks from the norm, right? It is not another sonnet. It is a kind of truncated sonnet. When April pours the colors of a shell upon the hills, when every little creek is shot with silver from the Chesapeake and shoals new minted by the ocean swell, when strawberries go begging and the sleek blue plums lie open to the blackbird's beak, we shall live well, we shall live very well. I I can only say that that paints such a beautiful picture. And the length of this sentence, right? This is all one really long sentence, and it builds and it builds and it builds, and the rhythm of it and the alliteration in it. It's such a beautiful image, and it is almost daydreamy in the way that it builds. The months between the cherries and the peaches are brimming cornucopias, which spill fruits red and purple, somber bloomed and black. Then down rich fields and frosty river beaches will trample bright persimmons, while you kill the bronze partridge, speckled quail, and canvasback. Again, we get this image of plenty, but now, again, there's weirdness in it, right? Kill bronze partridge. I just think kill there shoots. Huh? It just makes such a weird addition to this, right? You know, we're back to like you're killing squirrels. I don't know. It's just, it sounds negative, right? You don't want to talk about killing. And the truncatedness of this perfect sonnet being cut up again suggests this idea that something isn't perfect, something isn't good. Let's see what happens in the next stanza. Down to the Puritan marrow of my bones, there's something in this richness that I hate. I love the look, austere, immaculate, of landscapes drawn in pearly monotones. There's something in my very blood that owns bare hills, cold silver on a sky of slate, a thread of water churned to a milky spate, streaming through slanted pastures fenced with stones. I love those skies, thin blue or snowy gray, those fields sparse planted, rendering meager sheaves, that spring briefer than apple blossom's breath, summer so much too beautiful to stay, swift autumn like a bonfire of leaves, and sleepy winter like the sleep of death. Huh? Now, suddenly, in this stanza, we get the speaker talking about the Puritan marrow of her bones. The marrow is that kind of, I don't know, have you ever had, if you have like a dog, sometimes you give them a bone that has marrow in it, they'll crack it open. Marrow is, actually it makes white blood cells. That's its function. But it's this very fatty kind of core of you. And this idea of this marrow of your bones means like the very center of you. And Puritans are hyper-conservative religious people who came from England to America. You know, hopefully you remember that from early American history classes, like in 5th grade. But if you don't, the Puritans were very conservative religiously. There, you got those images of very much, you know, constricted by their clothing, their big buckled shoes and their big hats, and very little richness, all about the austere, which means like stripped down, simple nature of things. And all of a sudden, after talking about all this glorious plenty, this cornucopia is the horn of plenty is what it really means. And it's around Thanksgiving, often in the autumn. The author seems to love autumn. And yet the author is saying, rather than all of these really beautiful, wonderful richness, this milk and honey, the author in the core of her, or the speaker, sorry, in the core of her doesn't want that, right? Is much more drawn to winter and this sleep of death. And winter lasting longer than anything else. Spring super short. Summer so beautiful, but it can't stay. Autumn swiftly leading back into winter once again. And there's that tension in the poem about which one, you know, is this being celebrated still? Can you still celebrate those images that make you think of death? Or is that bad? How should we deal with this idea? And that is the primary tension in the poem. And what sort of theme does that convey then? What is the message here if we talk about all this plenty with this little tension throughout, and then finally in that final stanza we get this big statement? What theme could that lead to? And I leave that to you as you answer the text analysis questions in the back. Thanks!